There is a moment in every spiritual journey when something simple, so simple it almost feels ordinary, reveals a hidden force that has been shaping your life the entire time. For me, that moment began with salt. Not the salt on the table, not the salt we use without thinking, but the biblical Jewish salt spoken of in ancient texts, the salt of covenant, of protection, of purification. And when I first learned that this salt could break envy, dissolve the evil eye, and unblock financial stagnation, I felt both wonder and disbelief. How could something so small hold such power? But the deeper I went into the teachings, the clearer it became. Salt is not a spice, it is a spiritual technology. Before we explore this mystery together, I want you to do something simple yet profoundly important. Write in the comments one area of your life where you feel blocked. Just one. It could be finances, relationships, self-confidence, career, anything. In Kabbalah, naming a blockage begins the process of dissolving it. By putting it into words, publicly, consciously, you break its invisibility. And what is no longer hidden can no longer silently drain you. Salt appears again and again in Jewish scripture, always carrying the same message: protection, permanence, and purification. From the offerings in the temple to the rituals performed by prophets, salt was never just a mineral. It was a guardian, a neutralizer, a breaker of harmful currents. Our ancestors believed that envy, jealousy, unspoken resentments, and the infamous ayin hara, the evil eye, were not psychological ideas, but energetic forces capable of interfering with one's livelihood, joy, and spiritual clarity. And salt, somehow, was the antidote. When envy surrounds you, it creates constriction. When the evil eye lands on you, it weakens your field. When financial energy becomes tangled, opportunities fade, expenses multiply, ideas dry out. None of this happens randomly. Energy has structure. Emotion has vibration. The world responds to unseen currents long before visible results appear. This is why some people work tirelessly and still feel stuck, blocked, or drained. They are fighting forces they cannot see, but forces that salt can break. Salt's power rests in its simplicity. It purifies whatever it touches. It stabilizes what would otherwise decay. It disrupts negative patterns before they take root. The mystics say it contains the memory of creation, the moment boundaries were formed and chaos was pushed back. And yet, this knowledge has been forgotten by most, passed over, treated as superstition. Until life forces you to notice that something invisible is working against you, and you begin searching for a way to reclaim your flow. Because the truth is this: the power of salt did not begin in folklore. It began in a covenant older than kingdoms, older than rituals, older than the temple itself. And to understand why salt can break envy, evil eye, and financial blockage, we must return to that covenant, where everything first began. Long before salt touched our tables, it touched something far more sacred: covenant. The ancient sages called it Brit Malach, the covenant of salt, an unbreakable pact between the physical world and the divine structure that holds it together. When I first encountered this idea, it felt symbolic, poetic, almost abstract. But the deeper I went into the roots of this teaching, the more I realized it was describing something literal. Salt as a spiritual boundary, a stabilizer of energy, a guardian of clarity. It was not chosen at random. It was chosen because it mirrors the laws of creation. Salt preserves, salt protects, salt binds. And in the spiritual world, anything that preserves, protects, and binds is a conduit for divine flow. In the book of Leviticus, every offering is commanded to be seasoned with salt, not for taste, but for alignment. Without salt, the sages say, the offering is incomplete, unable to rise, unable to reach its destination in the heavenly realms. This puzzled me for years. How could salt be so essential to a sacred act that connects heaven and earth? Then I learned the secret. Salt represents the boundary between chaos and order. In Kabbalah, creation began when infinite light contracted and formed space, Timtsum. Salt carries the energy of that contraction. It holds the memory of separation, the law that says, here is the boundary, here is the limit, here is where disorder cannot cross. It is the guardian of structure. This is why salt resists decay, why it refuses corruption, why it never spoils. In the spiritual realm, it symbolizes permanence, meaning anything touched by salt becomes anchored, rooted, shielded from dissolving forces. Envy, evil eye, and financial blockages are all forms of dissolving forces. They destabilize, they contaminate, they create spiritual rot. Salt interrupts the rot. In ancient times, people understood this instinctively. They placed salt near entrances to keep invasive energies from crossing the threshold. They used it in oaths, in agreements, in protection rituals, not as superstition, but as physics of the unseen. Salt was the material that held the invisible lines. Yet somewhere along the way, we forgot why. Salt became just salt, a seasoning, an afterthought. And with that forgetting, the spiritual boundaries in our lives began to weaken. Energies we once knew how to block started slipping through. Envy became harder to shake. The evil eye became more potent. Financial flow became more fragile. But here is where the story deepens. Understanding the covenant of salt is only the beginning. To grasp its power fully, you must see the force it was designed to neutralize, an ancient, invisible force that follows humans everywhere, shaping destinies quietly, subtly, relentlessly, a force that has undone kings and silenced the prosperous. And that force is envy, the evil eye, and the silent drain it creates on your life. Envy is one of the oldest forces known to humanity, and in Jewish mysticism, it is considered more corrosive than anger, more disruptive than fear, and more spiritually dangerous than hatred. Unlike other emotions, envy doesn't explode outward. It seeps, quietly, invisibly, like a slow poison entering the energetic field of the one who is envied. And because it operates in silence, most people never realize how deeply it affects their finances, their opportunities, their confidence, and their sense of forward motion. This is the essence of Ayin Hara, the evil eye. Not a myth, not superstition, but a subtle disruption of energetic balance. To understand how salt breaks this force, you must first understand how envy works. Envy occurs when someone witnesses your blessing, your success, your beauty, your relationships, your growth, and instead of celebrating, something inside them contracts. That contraction sends an energetic ripple outward. It creates a constriction, a tightening in the spiritual fabric that surrounds you. Kabbalah teaches that abundance moves through open channels, and envy closes those channels, not physically, but energetically. The flow becomes tangled, the momentum slows. Suddenly, things that were once effortless become heavy. A person under envy often senses it without having words for it. Opportunities delay for no reason. Money evaporates through strange expenses. Confidence weakens. Creative ideas dry up. People become distant or unpredictable. You feel watched, even in silence. This is not paranoia. It is resonance. Human beings emit emotional vibrations, and envy is one of the sharpest frequencies. It pierces before it speaks. I once knew someone who experienced a sudden collapse in success right after being publicly praised. Nothing dramatic happened externally, no argument, no sabotage, yet within. Nothing dramatic happened externally, no argument, no sabotage. Yet within days, projects stalled and unexpected costs arose. When she sought spiritual counsel, the answer was simple. The blessing had attracted eyes that were not aligned with her elevation. And because she had no spiritual boundary in place, the energy entered easily. This is why salt becomes essential. Salt is the boundary maker. Salt dissolves constriction. Salt breaks the emotional charge that envy carries. It neutralizes the sticky vibration that attaches itself to your field through someone else's gaze or thoughts. It neutralizes the spiritual atmosphere around you, creating clarity where there was fog and movement where there was stagnation. But envy is only part of the story. The evil eye also affects prosperity by disrupting the internal structure of your own energy, causing self-doubt, hesitation, and fragmentation. Salt clears these internal distortions as well, restoring the integrity of your vessel. Yet to understand why salt is so effective, you must look at the biblical laws of purification. For the power of salt is not emotional, it is structural. It operates according to spiritual architecture laid out in ancient texts, laws that explain exactly why salt can interrupt destructive forces before they ever reach you. To understand why salt is able to break envy, dissolve the evil eye, and clear financial blockages, we must return to the biblical laws of purification, laws that reveal salt not as a symbol, but as a spiritual mechanism. In the Torah, salt appears wherever separation, cleansing, and boundary setting are required. It is present in sacrifices, in offerings, in covenants, and in rituals meant to restore balance between the human and the divine. The sages taught that nothing impure could rise, transform, or reach its intended destination unless salt had first touched it. Salt was the bridge. When I first read that every offering in the temple required salt, I assumed it was ceremonial. Then I learned what the mystics had always known. Salt separates. It cuts through energetic density. It disrupts chaotic fields. It purifies by dividing the clean from the unclean, the aligned from the misaligned, the elevated from the stagnant. This is why salt preserves food. It prevents decay by interrupting processes that break things down. And spiritually, salt does the same. It stops the forces that break you down emotionally, financially, and energetically. The biblical laws reveal a deeper truth. Impurity enters through confusion, heaviness, and mingling of energies that were never meant to mix. Financial blockage is often the result of this spiritual mingling. Someone's envy touches your field and suddenly your clarity is clouded. Someone's judgment lingers on your blessings and your motivation weakens. A poorly aligned interaction disrupts your flow and nothing moves. Salt intervenes at the structural level, restoring separation where harmful merging took place. Kabbalah teaches that purity is not about morality, it is about coherence. When your field is coherent, you attract opportunity. When it is incoherent, you attract obstacles. Salt brings coherence. It sharpens the edges of your energetic boundaries, helping your inner world and outer world align again. Even psychologically, salt resets the nervous system. Rituals involving salt often calm the mind, grounding a person in the present moment. What the ancients understood intuitively, we can now observe physically. Imagine your life as a vessel with pathways to enter. Over time, envy, chaos, emotional residue, and unprocessed interactions fill those pathways with debris. The flow slows. You feel blocked. You feel stuck. You feel held back by something you cannot name. Salt acts like a spiritual solvent. It dissolves the debris, restores openness, and allows movement again. This is why salt was commanded by God Himself. Do not leave your offering without salt, because without purification, the offering cannot ascend. And without purification in your daily life, your financial intentions cannot ascend either. Yet knowing what salt does is only half the story. The real danger begins when salt is used incorrectly, when given or applied in ways that weaken rather than strengthen your protection. And the first misuse is far more common than most people realize, hidden under the disguise of kindness and self-sacrifice. The first misuse of salt begins with good intentions. It happens when you direct your spiritual protection outward while ignoring your own exhaustion. This is the false generosity of using salt to cleanse others, support others, shield others, while leaving your own energy unguarded. On the surface, it looks compassionate. You purify someone's space, you perform rituals for their well-being, you offer protection for their home, their relationships, their finances. But in Kabbalah, protection that does not begin with the self becomes spiritually inverted. It weakens the giver. Salt amplifies intention. And when your intention is to rescue others while silently neglecting your own alignment, salt magnifies that imbalance. It draws out more energy than you have available. It becomes a spiritual overextension. I once knew a woman who cleansed her entire family's homes with salt every month. She placed bowls and corners, sprinkled salt across thresholds, washed door frames, and prayed for their peace. Everyone around her felt lighter, calmer, luckier. Yet she herself grew increasingly drained. Her finances wavered. Her sleep became restless. She felt unprotected, even though she was surrounded by the very substance meant to guard her. When she finally sought spiritual guidance, the answer was simple. She had been giving from an empty vessel. Kabbalah teaches you cannot pour from a cup that has no walls. Salt is a guardian, but guardianship requires boundaries. When you direct protection outward without anchoring yourself, you create openings in your own field. You give others the stability you deny yourself. And the universe, always mirroring your inner world, assumes this is the order you have chosen, that your well-being is secondary. Misusing salt this way leads to a quiet form of depletion. You help others break envy, but envy tightens around you. You cleanse their homes, but your own atmosphere becomes heavy. You open their financial pathways, but yours remain blocked. This happens because spiritual tools follow spiritual laws. Salt strengthens only what is prioritized. If others come first, salt will reinforce that order. If you come last, it will reinforce that too. But the misuse goes deeper. When you cleanse others from a place of duty, guilt, or emotional pressure, salt absorbs your inner conflict. Instead of purifying, it amplifies the very heaviness you hope to remove. And this leads directly into the second misuse. For salt does not only respond to your action, fear, resentment, or desperation. For salt does not only respond to your action, it responds to the state of your heart. Salt may be a purifier, but it does not override the emotional state of the one who uses it. This is the second misuse. Performing rituals of cleansing, protection, or unblocking while carrying resentment, fear, frustration, or desperation. On the surface, the act appears correct. The salt is placed, the prayer is spoken, the gesture is made. But beneath the surface, the emotional current inside you shapes the entire outcome. In Kabbalah, kavana, intention, is not an accessory. It is the engine that determines whether a ritual opens a doorway or closes one. When you approach salt with a heavy heart, the salt absorbs that heaviness. Instead of dissolving negative energy, it binds with it. Instead of clearing your field, it mirrors your inner chaos. Instead of restoring flow, it reinforces the very constriction you hope to break. It is not punishment, it is spiritual physics. Salt magnifies the emotional frequency present at the moment of use. I once knew a man who performed a salt ritual every time he felt overwhelmed by financial pressure. But each time he did it, he was filled with desperation. His hands trembled, his breath tightened, his mind was fixed on fear. What if things get worse? What if I fail? What if this doesn't work? That fear became the true offering. The salt didn't clear his blockage, it crystallized it. Within days, new expenses appeared. Opportunities slipped away. He became convinced something external was sabotaging him, when in reality, it was his own emotional frequency being amplified. Salt cannot carry mixed signals. It will choose the stronger emotion. If fear is stronger, fear becomes the message. If resentment is stronger, resentment becomes the imprint. If despair is present, despair becomes the structure that forms around your request. This is why salt was always paired with gratitude or clarity in ancient rituals. The priests in the temple did not sprinkle salt hurriedly or anxiously. They did it with presence, steadiness, holiness. Salt is sensitive. It responds instantly to intention. It amplifies whatever the heart holds. Think of salt as a lens. If the image behind it is clear, it makes clarity brighter. If the image is distorted, it magnifies the distortion. Using salt in a moment of emotional misalignment is like trying to clean a window with muddy hands. You only smear the dirt deeper. But there is another layer to this misuse. When you approach salt with emotional turmoil, you unconsciously place that turmoil into the physical space around you. Corners absorb it, doorways hold it, rooms echo it. Instead of clearing energy, you anchor chaotic frequency into the very environment meant to protect you. And this leads us into the next danger, a misuse that does not come from emotion but from placement. Because even when your intention is clear and your heart is steady, salt placed in the wrong areas of the home can trap the very energies you are trying to remove. Most people think that placing salt anywhere in their home will purify the space, but Kabbalah teaches something far more precise. Salt does not just cleanse, it absorbs. And where that absorption happens determines whether the energy is released or imprisoned. This is the third misuse. Leaving salt in the wrong areas of the home, unintentionally anchoring negativity instead of dispersing it. A misplaced bowl of salt can become a spiritual sponge, collecting everything heavy, stagnant, or conflicted, and keeping it inside your environment. Every home has energetic signatures. Some corners collect emotional residue. Some doorways carry the weight of old conversations. Some rooms echo the tension of past arguments or financial stress. When you place salt in a location that already holds density, the salt begins to absorb that energy. But without proper outlet or intention, it merely concentrates the heaviness instead of clearing it. It becomes a trap rather than a purifier. I once visited a home where the owner had placed bowls of salt in every corner, believing more was better. But the atmosphere felt thick, stagnant, almost unmoving. She told me she had done it to clear envy and open financial flow, yet her money seemed more blocked than ever. When I looked at where the salt had been placed, it was obvious. Each bowl was sitting in a location that represented emotional burden. The salt wasn't clearing the heaviness, it was holding it, multiplying it, reinforcing it. Kabbalah teaches that salt must be placed strategically, not casually. Doorways symbolize transition, salt here blocks negative entry. Corners symbolize accumulation, salt here absorbs but does not release. Bedrooms symbolize vulnerability, salt here can amplify unrest. Workspaces symbolize creation, salt here can either sharpen clarity or dull it. Placement is not arbitrary. It determines the direction in which the energy flows. Salt near an entrance purifies what attempts to enter. Salt near a window can draw energy outward. Salt in a forgotten corner can trap emotional residue. Salt under the bed can intensify spiritual restlessness. Salt near symbols of abundance, like a desk, a wallet, or a project, can sharpen flow if used properly, or choke it if misused. Placement establishes intention. Intention shapes outcome. This is why improperly placed salt can influence finances. When heavy energy is trapped instead of cleared, stagnation becomes the dominant field. Stagnation affects motivation, clarity, decision-making, and emotional openness, all essential for prosperity. But the deeper truth is this: salt interacts directly with the spiritual channels through which money flows. It does not just purify a room, it purifies a pathway. And to understand how salt breaks financial blockages specifically, we must look at the energetic mechanics of money itself, how it moves, how it gets stuck, and how salt dissolves the knots that keep abundance from reaching you. Money is not merely currency, it is movement. It is the outward expression of internal alignment, clarity, confidence, and energetic openness. In Kabbalah, financial abundance is understood as flow, a current of divine provision known as Shefa. When Shefa moves freely, opportunities appear naturally, decisions become clear, and life feels supported. But when something constricts that flow, envy, inner doubt, emotional heaviness, negative environments, the current slows, tangles, or stops altogether. This is where salt becomes a powerful spiritual tool, for salt dissolves blockages the same way it dissolves impurities in water. Think of financial energy as a series of channels, some internal, some external. Internal channels include your beliefs, emotions, expectations, and sense of worth. External channels include relationships, opportunities, conversations, timing, and environment. When either side becomes congested, the flow of abundance suffers. Salt works on both fronts. Salt breaks stagnation. It absorbs emotional residue that clouds intuition. It neutralizes the energetic weight that envy creates around your blessings. It releases the constriction caused by old disappointments or failures that still sit in your field. Salt resets the atmosphere so that your actions can finally take effect. I once met someone who performed a simple 7-day salt practice. Every morning, she placed a small pinch of salt on her desk and spoke gratitude over her work. At night, she discarded it, letting the day's energy dissolve. During that week, she received 2 unexpected job offers, resolved a lingering conflict, and uncovered a financial error that returned money she didn't know she was owed. She didn't perform magic. She didn't force the universe. She simply cleared the channels. Salt does not create abundance. It unblocks what was already trying to reach you. The mystics say that financial blockage is rarely about lack of skill or opportunity. It is about interference. Emotional interference, energetic interference, relational interference, psychic interference. The evil eye is one form, but so are self-criticism, fear of failure, old beliefs inherited from family, environments filled with tension, and thoughts that tie knots instead of opening pathways. Salt dissolves knots. By placing salt in the right location with clear intention, you create space for movement. The flow returns because the obstacles have been neutralized. Even psychologically, salt rituals help the nervous system release tension, making you more open, intuitive, and decisive. And prosperity follows clarity the way water follows gravity. But the most powerful uses of salt are not modern. They come from ancient Jewish practices, rituals hidden in tradition, whispered through generations, designed specifically to protect blessings and amplify financial flow. These rituals were not superstition, they were spiritual architecture. And now we turn to them. The 3 ancient salt rituals that have carried protection, stability, and abundance through centuries of exile, struggle, and triumph. Among the oldest teachings of Jewish mysticism are 3 salt rituals, simple, physical actions designed to shape the invisible currents around your life. These rituals survived centuries, not because they were charming traditions, but because they worked. They were performed by shepherds and sages, kings and wanderers, mothers protecting their homes, and merchants protecting their livelihoods. And though each ritual is small in form, its impact on envy, the evil eye, and financial clarity is profound. The first ritual is salt at the doorway. A pinch of salt placed near the entrance, hidden or visible, acts as a spiritual guard. Doorways are thresholds, and thresholds are the points where energy enters. Envy, resentment, or negative intention from others can cling to you as you return home, and without a boundary, it slips into your space. Salt disrupts that entry. It neutralizes the vibration before it crosses the threshold. In ancient households, this was as normal as locking the door at night. A simple gesture to say, "Nothing harmful enters here." The second ritual is the salt toss over the left shoulder. Commonly misunderstood as superstition, this gesture actually carries deep Kabbalistic meaning. The left side corresponds to Gevurah, judgment, constriction, and the energetic forces that tighten rather than release. Tossing salt over the left shoulder symbolically disrupts judgments aimed at you, whether spoken, silent, or unconscious. It is a cleansing of the space behind you, the unseen realm where harmful intentions gather. Not everything that affects you comes from the front. Much approaches from behind unnoticed. This ritual breaks that approach. The third ritual is the salt bowl for financial clarity. A small bowl of salt placed in your workspace or near where you handle money. A small bowl of salt placed in your workspace or near where you handle money absorbs stagnant energy, emotional residue, and mental fog. But its purpose goes deeper. Salt sharpens intention. When you sit near it, your thoughts stabilize. Your desires become clearer. Your decisions align with your higher self rather than with fear or confusion. Many merchants of old kept bowls of salt near their ledgers for this exact reason. Clarity is prosperity's first gate. Each of these rituals works because it aligns physical action with spiritual law. Salt does not chase away negativity by force. It changes the structure of the space so negativity cannot hold. It resets the field. It strengthens the vessel. It restores coherence. But no ritual is powerful on its own. Its strength depends on awareness, consistency, and the alignment of the heart. And this brings us to the final piece of this journey: how to integrate everything, salt, intention, protection, and flow into a daily practice that guards your blessing and expands your abundance with each passing day. For understanding salt is one step, living its wisdom is the transformation. When you gather all these teachings together, the covenant of salt, the nature of envy, the architecture of the evil eye, the mechanics of financial blockage, and the ancient rituals that guard your energy, you begin to see a single truth woven through all of it. Abundance is not random. It is not accidental. It is not a matter of luck or talent alone. Abundance is the natural result of spiritual coherence, and salt is one of the simplest, purest tools to restore that coherence when life becomes entangled. Salt teaches boundaries. It teaches purification. It teaches intentionality. It teaches the difference between giving and overgiving, between cleansing and misplacing, between ritual and emotional clarity. Salt does not add anything to your life. It frees what was already meant to flow. It dissolves the debris, unties the knots, breaks the cords of envy, silences the gaze of the evil eye, and clears the atmosphere where your decisions are made. Abundance does not need to be created, only unblocked. But integration is where transformation truly begins. Knowledge without practice evaporates. And so I invite you into a 7-day alignment with salt. Each day focused on a different layer of protection and flow. Day 1, place salt at your doorway and reclaim your threshold. Day 2, remove old salt from corners or areas where heaviness gathers. Day 3, use salt to reset your workspace and sharpen your purpose. Day 4, release emotional residue by washing your hands with salt and intention. Day 5, speak blessings over your finances with salt nearby as a stabilizer. Day 6, clear envy from your field with a symbolic toss over your left shoulder. Day 7, sit in stillness with a bowl of salt beside you, letting your energy and intentions realign. This is not magic, it is partnership. Salt becomes a physical anchor for the invisible work your soul is doing. It keeps your vessel sealed so Shefa can flow where it is meant to flow. And as your vessel strengthens, opportunities begin to move toward you with ease. You recognize them sooner, act on them faster, and hold them more confidently. Your environment becomes lighter, your heart becomes clearer, your path becomes unobstructed. Prosperity is not a chase, it is an invitation. And the universe responds to those who protect what is sacred, who honor their energy, who guard their threshold, who speak truth into their lives, and who clear away the heaviness that does not belong to them. So as you step forward from here, remember, salt is small, but its wisdom is vast. It is a reminder that the most powerful transformations often begin with the simplest acts. And if you know someone whose life feels weighed down by envy, tangled by the evil eye, or blocked in ways they cannot explain, share this knowledge with them. Sometimes the right tool placed in the right hands at the right moment becomes the turning point of an entire destiny.